First move. Isn't it great? We don't need to think about it. Okay, bishop d3. I'm definitely going to capture. Take the tempo with the knight. And take the free piece. A rather effective opening. It just does not disappoint. Can slide this queen over to h5. Knight d4 also trying to play against this knight, although it's true that knight d2 helps out quite a bit, but we're actually going to see a resignation there. Very nice, not even 10 moves. Great. What a great start. I mean, that's just how effective it is. The old Colorado counter gambit. That's what we've got for the people here. Knight c6, get it out early. Oh, he doesn't want the Colorado counter gambit. He doesn't want a piece of it. Okay, knight c6. Let's see. d4, we know we're going straight in with d5, and here's something we have not seen just yet, which is the very direct e5. So it's kind of like a French and maybe a Caro-Kann mixed, but with the knight on c6, we have no c5. We have no way to challenge the center. So the way that we're going to be challenging the center for sure is going to be directly against the e-pawn. We have to, right? If we don't challenge e5, then, I mean, it's almost like what are we doing? So we need to take this pawn in some capacity. So f6 is our general plan. We need to get developed. We're going to make sure to get this bishop outside the pawn chain. So let's have a look. Ooh, that move looks a little bit early. We have bishop e4, but even better, we have queen h4. g4 cannot really be played that quick. So for sure a mistake there. And king e2 actually loses the queen here by force due to queen h5. So very important move there by our opponent. Needed to play this and did. Just go ahead and take it. And I mean, the whole center, the whole game, everything collapses. And just like that, that's the way she goes. Knight here actually doesn't really prevent our, like, doesn't keep our knight trapped in there at all. So not particularly scary. Let's go knight e7. I think this bishop needs to be saved, and no better place to put it than here. Knight to c2. We're looking to rescue this guy as best we can. And why do you think I put my bishop on f5? Now we have bishop e4. And the knight is fully rescued here because e3 is available. So we're all good now. More material for me. The knight is fully out, and knight takes e6. Certainly not going to help. Certainly not going to help. We'll just make sure there's no pawn moves here. Oh, now you can see the box is being built. I don't think this is particularly exciting to play on, but if you'd like to, that's definitely your decision. I wouldn't recommend it, me personally. I wouldn't do it. I don't think it's going to be a good time. Yeah, I wouldn't still be here. I would catch the next train out of this city. With no shame at all. He's still here. Still fighting the good fight. He's doing the thing where he's trying to fake it that he's left, but he hasn't actually. Can we win with only our current pre-moves? Is it going to be enough time? These are the only ones we locked in. Thank goodness it was enough. I didn't have any more money for more. Didn't have more coins. Okay. Knight c6 on move number 1. d5 to follow. We know we're taking back with the queen, if it happens. Haven't seen this one before. Pawn to c4. We're just going to have to sit here and respect it. By taking. Uncovering an attack here. And after f3, doing nothing about the pawn in the center. I'm concerned about knight c2 here. Knight a3, we can get ready with e5 so that we can take. But no, it will be, unfortunately, knight c2. It's just a resignation. I mean, look how quick and easy these games are. Knight c6, d5, working absolutely like a charm. Where are these 500s learning to resign? Great question. They clearly did not watch Habits. That's what I know. All right. This guy's username is Rough Knight. Let's show him one of our own. The Colorado counter gambit here with f5 played. All right. I suppose we're going to take this. Now, pawn takes here leaves us with double isolated pawns. That doesn't feel very good, so I'm going to take this way. And after knight e5, I think knight f6 just to stop queen h5. Absolutely mandatory. d5 looks good. h6 I really like. And what I might do here is perhaps even lead with the move d5 to prepare h6. That's really what I want to be playing. Or play h6 and then e5 so that we don't let that piece crawl back into the game. But yeah, I kind of like d5. Knight e6 is covered. I think h6 is a big threat. We anticipate this. But now I think it's time for h6. There's no queen h5. The knight has to go here, which is pretty bad square. Oh, knight f7 is not going to be anything meaningful. I think we can just take here. Maybe e5 should be considered, but I just see no problem with knight takes e4, so we're going to go straight for it. Queen back. We can bring the knight back. Queen here again. Not really hurting us here. I almost want to keep my knight, my beautiful knight on e4 here, but we'll make the smart decision and retreat. And we are up an extra piece here, so even a queen trade is perfectly happy for us. e5, rook f8, king g8, and it's as if we castled the entire time. This a pawn does not really scare me. b3 to perhaps play bishop a3 is at least an idea. Still doesn't scare me, but yeah, a4, a5 on its own is nothing, but with b3, I think it makes more sense. Center looks good. We're up a piece. Material count looks good. Open things up here. Knight g4, very tough to react to. And feels like here bishop g4, bishop f3, queen e6, queen h3. That's probably going to be a win. Yep, nothing more important than slotting this bishop in on f3 because there's basically no defense. And this is actually great because it looks like I'm just, oh, I got attacked, let me move. So, you know, rook e1 is fortunate to allow queen f1, but it's just about the only move here that will save the game. And it's reasonable. It's also a good move, like rook into the middle. It happens to help out, but yeah, this is more expected. Some sort of random move, and it just does not do anything to help the g2 square, the light squares. And that will definitely be a checkmate. Another victory for the Colorado counter gambit, as we're moving up the 600s. And yes, of course, this can most certainly be pre-moved. There's nothing that can be done that will help out with that. GG. Good thing about knight c6, no matter what, is we can pre-move it. And the old Colorado counter gambit starts again. Knight f6 not required here because there's no queen to h5. So we can just directly go for this. I think here we should try to eliminate this bishop. Queen here. I suppose let's take. And I'll actually just play queen d7. Actually, maybe knight h6 could be an interesting move. In fact, I think I might play it now. Maybe knight h6 on the previous turn would have actually been more accurate, but perhaps we would get to the exact same position. Effectively, I don't think you can hang on to that pawn long enough, so we will get it back at some point. Okay, I mean, no harm done in terms of the opening for our opponent here. We have the bishop pair, probably the safest that we've seen anyone get out of the opening so far. White really should play these moves. And I think the failure to do so perhaps will help us out. I'd love to go here, but then I do have to worry about this a little bit. Yeah, as much as I'd like to do that, I actually don't think that I can. I think we're gonna have to only go e6. Yeah, bishop there is just quite a good move. Okay, knight here heading to d4. That makes perfect sense. And we can also just appreciate that knight takes a7 is a threat that we need to at least recognize. So what's the best way to handle that? I'm gonna go with this. Definitely anticipate this move. And then rook e8. Yeah, we can't really move this bishop, can't really move this pawn, so my guess is rook e8 or king d7 are moves that make sense. And it's going to be, no, I guess. Oh, now we can keep this. I think we should. Let's do it. I mean, we can take it. Should probably do that, but I find myself respecting the vision of my opponent here. Yeah, rook b1, bishop here, rook takes, king c8. There are a couple of hanging pieces that I don't think can actually be defended. So something's got to give. I'm not saying our position is going to be amazing, but quite good, I think. Hey, another good move. Let's go back to defend this. Our opponent played, I don't even know if it's the best, but I would say the safest. Didn't try to hang on to the pawn too long. Tried their best with knight d4, queen d3. Ultimately, we were able to win it back. But, you know, no harm done. White says, okay, you win the pawn back. Now we're just equal. b4 is the only reason we're actually up a pawn here. But otherwise, you could say a pretty good opening. Let's take that. Claiming a couple pawns. I will probably take another here because I have bishop b5 at the end. And also b5 if needed. And we can go here, but then rook here. There's a couple pawns hanging. So yet again, rook a1, a reasonable move. We do have extra pawns, which is why I'm happy to play this, but really not a game full of too many mistakes. Just a bunch of pawns hanging, but it's not bad at all. Opposite bishops, but we have quite a lot of pawns. And that should probably do it here. Four pawns, four connected pawns. Now that's going to be hard to stop. Look at this. Not a bad game at all. GG. Very good game. I think this is almost what you're trying to do as blacks, kind of the best that we can do. Now, I think knight h6 is the more correct move than queen d7, so I'll probably play that move instead. But after knight d4, then I think we're kind of getting right back to the same thing after queen d7. Like, it seems very similar. So basically the position that we got, I imagine, is fairly standard. I think black's slightly better here, but nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. So it's a very safe way to get out of the opening without any danger, because we've seen a lot of other players lose pieces. Much worse. Much worse. All right. Let's continue. Looks like we're reaching the end of the music as well. Let's see here. Okie dokie. Okay, we have knight c6. Guaranteed first move, so we'll go ahead and pre-move it. d3. We played f5 last time. I think here it's very fair to kind of, pick and choose which moves we want. Let's try d5. Oh. He goes knight there. I think probably knight f6 then. Bishop g5. Well, I feel like the whole point of this is to get some kind of open position. So it makes you think about doing that, but we're not really favored there. So I wonder how we can continue in a way that matches. Perhaps f5 is the move that keeps things a bit more, I don't know, systematic a little bit, familiar. There are lots of moves to play here, but nothing that really resembles things that we've done. I think we'll play d4. Knight b5. Okay. I suppose this move, just to boot the knight out. Taking the center. I mean, yeah, has to be more of the same here. Kicking everyone out. Bit of a closed position here. I think f5 will probably serve our purposes a little bit better. Bring this knight back. You could consider something like this. That move we'll play g5. I will play g5. Not a lot of space here for white, but he seems comfortable. Gotta give it to him. I think I'm gonna go this way. And like kind of tuck the king on b7, even after this move. King b7 looks fairly safe. Bishops are like kind of decent, but they're hitting squares where it feels like everything is pretty well defended. So rook g8, bishop needs to go somewhere, and I think knight g4 is pretty effective, especially kingside castled. Now there's some attacking ideas on this side of the board for us. Move my body back and forth. Now, how do we get the sacrifices in? You guys know we're all about the sacrifices. Bishop e7. This move. Trying to play a4, but I think we'll just ignore it. Now, queen takes decent, but we don't really want to trade queens. We're going for mate, so we got to take with a rook. g3 is a pretty powerful move, so I think white is going to respond with g3 here. And then we just have to focus on the H file. Perhaps that move is even better. Let's attack this. Let's play rook h8. And again, over here, I'm just leaving it be. I don't think there's any breakthrough. Now, taking here, there is queen takes on h4. So miraculously, that one does not quite work. We're going to have to go here. Now that one, the math did not add up on that one. And knight f3, queen e3 is actually checkmate. Could go here, but I think it's time to bring in perhaps a remaining piece that has not participated yet. There's a potential here. I think we're going to see knight takes g4. Let's give a check here before bishop c8 happens. And I think once we do this, I'm expecting king f3, and that should allow us to... There we go. GG. Be able to hunt the king down there. Just have to eliminate all of the pieces. GG. Makes me wonder, I think, you know, we stick with the Colorado counter gambit stuff. The thing about d3 is like, well, it's not a very good move. It's not a very common move. And our plan is d5 or f5. To be honest, they're both possible, which is why we played f5 before. Now we played d5. Which one do I like better? Probably f5. Feels like we stick with the same theme as against these two moves with f5. So it feels a bit more consistent. We get the same position almost every time. And then against d4, I guess that's where we're going to respond with d5, I think. So that makes sense. I'm good with that. And perhaps... you know, a solid game like this will push you back into the Colorado counter gambit territory. All right, knight c6. Pre-moved. Oh, we see e3. Okay, kind of a nothing move. Let's go ahead and play f5 to stay a little bit consistent here. Okay, I guess we'll play d5, bishop d6, castles. Kind of a non-setup by white here, so I think we'll continue like this. Get castled early. This move doesn't look like it does anything, and if you think that it does, then you might lose a piece. I guess the question is how to continue from here. I actually think a6 will be useful, especially if the knight goes there. Okay, knight h4. We'll play queen e8. Stop knight g6. I don't know if that was the biggest threat, but certainly I can't go queen e7 anymore. He seems to be dancing the knight around, not really committing to anything. See where he wants to put that king. This is the biggest decision. Because it feels like we have pretty good initiative on both sides of the board in that case. Like it wouldn't really matter. Bishop h3. He continues to not commit. Well, let's try to open things up a little bit. Queen d1 and pretty much forced. You might play queen d3. Oh, okay, that one will not be good enough. That is a royal family, everyone's invited kind of fork. Let's take back. The bishop on h3 is hanging. All of our pieces are very central, ready to expand, in pretty good spots. And as tempting as it is to win this, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that bishop d5 is a forced mate here, because the king has nowhere to go. And the knight has to capture, and then queen e4 pretty much puts the king in the same position that the bishop is right now. And there we go. GG. And we bring ourselves up for air to 700. Knight c6 continues to be a weapon, but I'm not gonna lie, this wasn't the best example of it. I mean, it's fine, we got a good opening, but white did a lot of non-committal kind of moves. Didn't even take the center once. Only moved one of the two central pawns and only moved it one square. So really, all we did was bring pretty much every single piece to the middle and then open the middle up, and then all of a sudden the game was over. All of a sudden it was over.
You made it to the end of another episode in the one Knight c6 speedrun, an opening that we can play with the black pieces against anything. Subscribe to the chessbrah channel if you haven't already, and turn on post notifications so you do not miss our next upload. And of course, leave a comment down below if you're enjoying this series.